Little PSA, Marshall says, wear your sunscreen. Hey besties, it's Nat back again with another Animal Crossing speed build of my New England themed town core island of Nautilus. Is that the right order of those words? I don't know. Anyways, today's speed build, as you can see, will be for this lovely villager neighborhood that contains Marshall and Genji's houses and yards. This is actually a part 2 of the bottom half of this neighborhood, which contains Coco and Kiki's yards, as well as the museum. So if you want to check that out, I'll have that linked in the card. But right now we're doing, it's Genji Marshall time, okay? We're going to work on their houses, and it's going to be a sleigh. So, you know, classic, grab yourself a snack, grab yourself something to drink, and let's get right into it. Oh, good lord, what was that intro? Anyways, welcome to the speed build portion. It's voiceover Nat. We right now are demolishing Genji's yard. This, I think, may be the oldest remaining yard on my island. I did his yard a long time ago. Obviously, as you can see, it's very sports focused, and the final product will also be very sports focused. I wanted to give him like his own little place to for his gains, obviously. Um, and it actually ended up being really big. Both of these yards are really huge, which in contrast to the last video where I struggled with like the tiny 4x6 Coco yard. It's barely 4x6. It's more like 3x6 because you can't place stuff in front of the door. That whole process was one of the biggest struggles of my life. And I honestly struggled with these builds for the exact opposite reason, where I had too much space to work with and they were like long, skinny, like horizontal spaces. And that was its own struggle. But we'll get to that later, especially with Marshall's yard. Marshall's yard is like a hallway. But yeah, right now we're working on Genji's yard. I got a lot of positive feedback from the last video about switching to Colin's light all-season road because it's slightly beachier. It fits the beachy vibe of my island, and I've been enjoying it so far. It looks really great, and I still have the worry about like the lack of contrast between the road and all of the white wooden fences everywhere. But so far, I've been enjoying it, and I've also been enjoying the new colorway that I chose of the bricks. And you're going to see that in this video, also using the light in-game dirt path that all the girlies be using because it's cute and it deserves. But yeah, how have all of you been doing? I've been doing okay. Unfortunately, this build kept getting pushed back specifically because there has been construction in my neighborhood. You may hear some like truck backing up sounds. It's just like on and off all day, and I don't know why. I'll wake up at literally 6 in the morning and they will be building things. Like the second the sun comes up, there's someone out there constructing something. Like honestly, no offense to them, but just stop building things, okay? If it's not affordable housing or like a public school, why are you building it? I don't need it. You don't need it. Why are we building? I'm building in Animal Crossing and it doesn't cause any noise pollution at all, especially not at 7 in the morning when most people are trying to sleep or record a video, depending on the person. But yeah, that's why that's why the video did not come out on Sunday as I had planned. But I am very confident in my ability to get back to my Wednesday, Saturday upload schedule. I believe in me. I believe in me. I'm not going to go on a hiatus now. I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to stick by it. Just watch. And there's a helicopter. I love that for me. But anyways, regardless of the helicopters, here we are working on Genji's yard. I wanted it to be full of dirt, so it was sort of like a confined space with the fences and the dirt, and then we're going to put his sports equipment everywhere, and it's going to be very sporty, very athletic vibes over here for Genji. And then in front of it, I wanted to have that bus stop. I knew I wanted to have a bus stop on the street. I want to evenly disperse the bus stops throughout the island as though like there really is a bus on the island and people are riding the bus places. And I guess one of the bus stops outside of Genji's house, much like my old apartment, which also had a bus stop outside of it. And it was actually much noisier than this. As much as there is occasional noise out here, and honestly the randomness of the noise in this neighborhood is kind of troublesome in its own way because it's like it's dead quiet all day, and then all of a sudden the second I sit down to record, someone's having a party in their backyard and then someone else is building a house, and it's like it's a lot. And now they're knocking something down. Can you please leave me alone, okay? I'm building too, but my building is quiet and does not cause any noise pollution. But yes, I've been meaning to tell stories about my old apartment, specifically why I moved out of it for a long time now, but I've been waiting for like the right time to tell that story. And I don't think right now in the middle of the speed build is the right time, but I'll tell it because it's quite the story. I actually have an idea for a Happy Home Paradise live stream that would honestly be a good time for that story, so be on the lookout for that. I've been meaning to do that live stream for literally months, ever since I moved. I don't know what happened to me, but ever since I moved, I've been living in a weird like time vacuum, and I like can't accept that September and like the middle of September also, like my brain is not comprehending that. But all of this was spurred on by the fact that I mentioned the bus stop outside of Genji's house, and it reminded me of living outside of a bus stop myself, and now here we are. So here we are. Also, speaking of here we are, look who's here. While I was working on the first part of Genji's yard, Miss Coco showed up. And listen, okay, in the last video, I was trying to defend Coco. I was defending Coco because Marshall was coming for her and her laundry, which she's drying correctly, okay? Dryers use a lot of electricity, and sometimes your clothes don't need to go in the dryer. Sometimes it's bad for your clothes to use a dryer. So like Coco, eco-friendly queen, was just trying to dry her clothes outside on the hanger rack, and Marshall had something to say about it. And I came to Coco's defense because, as we all know, in the Coco, Marshall, Genji love situation, Genji 99% of the time is the problem. And so I was coming to Coco's defense. But now, as you can see, maybe I wasn't wrong to come to Coco's defense, but also maybe I was, because now Coco's acting up. So like, what's going on, bestie? Like, what are we doing? But yeah, she was loitering around a lot, and then later on, both Marshall and Genji show up for periods of time at this build. That makes sense to me though, because like they live here, but still, it's a lot. Honestly, it's giving me Sims 4 vibes of like the level of drama that was going on in that game before I accidentally took my hiatus and we haven't played in a minute. Oh, by the way, I'm moving the crosswalk down. I have to deal with that tree. I want to leave the tree there, but also I need to figure it out because it can't be in the middle of the crosswalk. Not that there aren't trees in the middle of crosswalks all over my island, but still. But yeah, great segue into talking about The Sims. One, because I plan on live streaming The Sims at some point this week, depending on when y'all want to play. And I also need to upload the next episode of the Let's Play slash edit the previous live stream, because we had me and Chowder's wedding and it was very chaotic. I did not realize how buggy my wedding stories was until I actually played with it, and now I know. Coco was being very cute though, I'll give her that. But yeah, speaking of The Sims 4, this is sort of an extension of what happened in the previous video where we were talking about the direct, but The Sims 4 is going free to play for everyone. So if you don't have The Sims 4 on PC, you can just download it free. I don't know, it might also be free on console, which would be great. But yeah, Sims 4 free to play, the base game. And also right now, for the next almost a month, the most recent build kit, what is it called? Desert Lux. That kit is also free. Someone in chat in my previous City Folk live stream informed me. I thought that it had stopped being free this month on the 17th, but it's in fact October 17th, 2022. So if you're watching this before October 17th, 2022, you can download the Sims 4 Desert Lux build kit for free. And I would recommend it because it's free, and also the objects in it are very good, and I have enjoyed using them so far in the game. So yeah. Ooh, speaking of objects, look at that segue, besties. Oh my god, I'm incredible. I'm unstoppable. We're placing down the big objects in Genji's yard, which in this case was the basketball hoop. It was the one big sports object I didn't have yet on my island. I have the volleyball net, I have the soccer goals, but I do not have the basketball hoop. So I wanted to have that in Genji's yard for him so he could shoot some hoops. And it is a very big object, and I was struggling with how to place it, but we're gonna figure it out eventually. I'm just adjusting some things. Once again, I'm obsessed with having little alleyways, and this little alleyway here I've had for a long time. It leads up to my volleyball court, which is one of the things that I need to renovate a little bit. It kind of got eaten up by another build that I did that sort of cut into that area, so we're gonna fix that. Well, the next couple of speed builds of the island will be fixing things that I did previously, not because they're bad necessarily, but just like to improve the general flow of the island, if that makes sense. I got a comment from my sibling who told me that they thought that the island was flowing a lot better and that everything was more cohesive, and that was like, yes, I'm figuring it out. I got it. Everything's falling into place. And so I think that this neighborhood is sort of indicative of that. Wow, it's big words today. This is your vocab lesson for the week, I guess. I was also very committed to having this little trash can in the alleyway. One, because it's been there forever and I love how it looks, and two, because I think it would be cute if Marshall and Genji shared a trash can. I think that that's very romantic, to share your trash. So romantic. But yeah, here we are figuring out Genji's yard. I attempted to use this plant partition in Coco's yard, and I didn't end up placing it in either of their yards. So plant partition didn't work out. I might place it somewhere else though. I might find a place for it. Behind Marshall's yard, there's like an area that's like, there's like a fence in between his yard and the volleyball court, and right now I have the hedge fence behind it to sort of fill it in with some greenery. So it's like there's a white tall fence like this one in Genji's yard, and then behind it is some hedges, and I might replace it with the plant partition because I've been trying to avoid using more wheat fields because they significantly add to the lag on my island, because I place so many of them down that it like the island's like, you place so many items, even though I don't feel like I place a lot of items because I don't feel like the wheat fields are that big of an item. You know, you can walk through them. They don't feel to me like they take up space, but the game sure does. So I've been trying to avoid using more of them. But I might try using the plant partition behind Marshall's house. We'll see. We'll do that when we renovate the volleyball court. Like I said, that whole area behind there, we'll figure it out. But we're figuring out Genji's yard right now. I initially wanted to use the purple hyacinths because Genji's color, one of his favorite colors, is purple, and I thought it was cute how initially Marshall had the blue hyacinths in his yard and Genji had the purple ones, but I decided that this whole neighborhood has blue hyacinths, so I should just be consistent and use the blue ones instead of struggling to incorporate the purple where it didn't match. But speaking of purple that doesn't match, I am so irritated by the fact that the house color also dictates, oh my god, the color of the curtain in the villager's window, because Marshall and Genji both have purple curtains, and then Coco has like a nice neutral curtain, and it's very irritating to decorate around this bright purple curtain in the window. Like, come on, Nintendo, let me decide the color of the curtains. If you can let me decide the roof and the house exterior and the door, let me decide the curtains, okay? But yeah, we're figuring out the shape of the yard. I had to move this basketball hoop around so many times because it's so bulky, and also you can't push objects that close to it. Like, that is as close as the basketball could get to the hoop, and that was what I was struggling with the most when I was working on this. Plus, I also wanted to add in at least one other piece of equipment, like the punching bag. I really wanted to add the punching bag because of the way the villagers interact with it. I think it's super cute. And I also kind of wanted to add like barbells or like something else, but it's even though it's a big yard, it's not that big, and that was a big struggle. Another big struggle was figuring out where to place the bus stop, and we're gonna figure that out eventually, and I think it turned out pretty cute. But you're gonna see that a little later. Everything's gonna come together, besties. It's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be a major sleigh, like I said in the intro. Here comes Genji to do some stretches and to remind you that muscles are a lifestyle. That's right, Genji, get your gains. I took a lot of cute pictures of him stretching while I was building because I thought it was really adorable how he was keeping me company while I was working on his workout space. And I posted those on my Discord server, which will be linked in the description. You have to be 16 years older to join. You can join. It'll be fun. It's a fun time in there. But yeah, I like to post like little preview photos in there as well as on my Instagram for the besties who follow me and who are in the Discord to get a little extra sneak peek at what I'm up to, you know, and it's a fun time in there. Please hold me to this eventually. I really want to do some like Discord only streams of some games that we don't stream as often on the channel. Like one time I streamed Pokemon Emerald over here, and that was really fun. And I would love to stream that again on Discord. So let me know, Discord besties, if you'd be interested in a little Pokemon stream over there. I think that would be a fun time. And you know what else is a fun time? Placing down wheat fields and making the lag even worse. There's Genji getting his gains, getting his stretches in for the morning before he does 30 laps around the island or whatever the jocks say that they like to do. And I also, one of the other objects that I wanted to place down was the two surfboards. And if you'll remember when we did the Genji and Marshall vacation house live stream for the Trevor project back during Pride, I used these two objects, and they were kind of a bit of a sleigh. So I was like, you know what, he needs to have some surfboards outside of his house. Honestly, looking back at this, the weight rack, the weightlifting bench was kind of cute, but I am glad that I put the the punching bag for the exact reason that I mentioned earlier, is that I think the animation they do when they interact with it was really cute. That's another thing that I discovered while we were doing that live stream for Genji and Marshall. I also tried to place down the yoga mat, but it ended up not fitting. I really want to have like a dedicated yoga spot somewhere on the island. Actually, that reminds me of a question I wanted to ask. Are there any builds, like outdoor builds, that you are like, I need to have that on my island? Like just an idea that you saw. Like I see a lot of people doing outdoor movie theaters, like drive-ins, and I'm like, oh, I'd love to do that on my island, but I don't know where I'd put it. Like, are there any builds like that where you're just like, I want to do that? I'm very curious, especially if you also tell me your theme. That's something I want to know. Okay, this is important. We are about to do a real life time jump, not an in-game time jump, because I was getting stuck with how to organize his yard and I needed to figure it out off camera. So we are going to very soon jump to me in the future, having planned out how I want all the furniture to be arranged. Most of the furniture is the same, but we're going to add some things and you're going to see sort of how it shakes out. And we're also going to add some custom design to the ground that really enhance the area and the looks of it. But yeah, we are about to jump, I think, right now. So yeah, here we are in Genji's empty yard. As you can see, I've placed down some of these brick custom designs to make it sort of look more like a place where you could like bounce a basketball. And also they blend in really nicely with the dirt. But I'm going to show you how I came up with how to fill the space off camera. I've been doing that a lot recently, just because if there's a place where I'm really stuck, it's more stressful to be sitting at my desk thinking about it than just like wandering around my house, like in my bed or on my couch, and being able to sort of figure it out as I go without worrying about being recording the entire time. But yeah, this is how the area shook out. I pushed the basketball hoop farther to the left, so there was more space for the bench, and then I moved the bench outside the yard to the other side. So it's sort of, I don't know, I just needed to offset the height of the different objects, and so I felt like having the taller object on the right instead of having all of the tall objects in the tree sort of congregated to the left made more sense to me. And then I also put down those iron bars that I never use. I want to use them on my island so badly, and this was the perfect opportunity for me to use them. This is definitely the most urban part of my island, and the metal also really matches the aesthetic of all of the metal objects in Genji's yard, so I thought that it worked perfectly. And I ended up replacing this bag with a pile of leaves, but you know, this is the basic finished look of the front of Genji's yard. I think it turned out really, really cute. And now I am moving to the back of his yard to add more wheat fields, which I know, but they just look nice behind the fence. Like, they just look nice behind the fence. I need to do some spatial management and figure out like which objects on my island are unnecessary, because I am really pushing the limits with the amount of wheat fields that I'm placing down. Once the objects stop like appearing when you place them down and you have to like move first before they show up after you place them, that's when you know you've gone too far. Oh, here's a really adorable shot that I took while I was building this area initially of Marshall reminding you to wear sunscreen, besties. Okay, I thought this was very important. Little PSA, Marshall says, wear your sunscreen. But yeah, that was the end of Genji's yard, and now we're gonna move on to Marshall's yard. But quickly before we go over there, I'm adding a little bit of texture to the road by using the design code and making it look sort of like the road has been worn off, and then I'm going to plant some weeds in the dirt. I love doing this. I'm addicted to doing this. You can't stop me from doing it. But here we are. We've gone to Marshall's yard. One of the issues, as you can see, that I had with this yard was how visually busy it is. Like, there is a lot going on here. And the summer grass, as much as I love the summertime in this game, the bright green summer grass is not doing this yard any favors. It's just like the whole yard is just way too much. Plus we have these rocks over here that I really like the placement of, and I don't want to risk destroying them and having them spawn somewhere else on my island. So I decided I wanted to leave them. And so we have to work around the rocks. We have to work around the weird hallway shape of the yard, leaving it up to the beach. And we also have a little area on the beach for Marshall to hang out. So all of that has to sort of mesh together, and the final result ended up really being really, really beautiful, and it's like really minimalist and just like very like not visually cluttered, which is new for me. You guys know how much I love clutter, both in this game and in The Sims. It's kind of my specialty. But here I toned it down a little bit. I'll show you guys a picture once we get closer to that part of the build. I'll show you guys a picture of like one of my initial designs that I had thought up while I was working on things off camera, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cute, but then I went back and I'm like, this is too much, and we dialed it back a lot, and it ended up being really adorable. So I hope you enjoy it. Now Marshall is inside his house, so we get the nice warm light as well as the incredibly ugly purple curtain, though to be fair, Marshall does have a little bit of purple in his ears, so I guess it does match his vibe, though neither of those house exteriors are original house exteriors. I changed them, obviously. I renovated all of my villager houses. I forget that sometimes. I'm like, I must have another villager house I have to do. No, I don't. I did all of them. I'm finished with all of them, and they're great, and you can watch them on the channel. I think I have a playlist called like Building Nautilus or whatever, and I mean that has all the videos in it. I should probably make a separate playlist specifically of the interiors now that I'm done with them. That would be kind of nice. I should do that. I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna do that for y'all. That's also something me and my sibling discussed this weekend when they came over to visit my island and see like the progress that I had made on this area. We were talking about the interiors of the houses, and we both agreed that our favorites on my island are Coco's house and Pecan's house. And I was curious, okay, this is kind of a vain question, but if you've seen the villager interior videos, which one is your favorite? I want to know, because like I said, so far my sibling and I are sort of in agreement that Coco and Pecan are the best. Oh my god, Marshall's sweeping. It's so cute. And then I think Genji's gonna wander over here and they're gonna have like a weird flirty moment. And also Marshall tells me that his house is totally rad, which is so true because I decorated it. But yeah, let me know. I guess let me know if you've seen my house interior decorating videos, which one is your favorite. Once again, it feels like a vain question, even though this is my channel. So how about, okay, modification to the question. If you have been decorating your villagers' interiors, what is your interior that you've ever done, and describe it to me. I'm very curious. I love doing island tours and like seeing how people choose to decorate their villager interiors, because as we know, I'm addicted to making my villagers girl bosses, and it's a bit of a problem. So there's a lot of businesses on my island, but you know, like sometimes you just decorate it and it's a normal house and it's like really cute. So let me know. I'm back in my nosy era as I often am. And now Marshall is gonna, I think, oh, this is when he fell asleep. This is when he fell asleep. No, it's not. He's going back to sweeping, sleeping. I'm sorry. I don't know where this voiceover is going. Half this voiceover has been me like actually talking about the build and being like very serious, and the other half has just been nonsense. Like the intro to this video would not portray properly. Oh my god, look at me fail to catch that butterfly, embarrassing. But like the intro of this video, the energy in that, absolutely not accurate to my energy in this video, which is very strange because normally I feel like that's my energy. It's just I guess I was in a silly goofy mood when I did the intro, and I guess it's been waxing and waning throughout this recording, which I hope that you've been enjoying so far. Right now, I am messing with the pathing in Marshall's yard, which was one of the biggest struggles, and eventually the solution ended up just being to get rid of the pathing altogether. But right now, I'm experimenting with these stepping stones outside of Pecan's house. Once again, ripping off Pecan's house because it's my favorite, but we got rid of those, and then I tried going for the white boards again. Those other white boards, the one that I use outside of my own house and outside of Coco's house, I wish so badly that the creator had a horizontal version of that path because I love that path so much. Just like the the physicality. I don't know, I'm just saying words at this point, but I love that path so much, and I'd love to be able to use a horizontal version of it as well as the vertical version. But I also have these beautiful planks as well, which hopefully will be, the code will be in the description. I am really bad at keeping track of my codes, and I keep needing to update my codes on the Discord, and it's just, it never happens, and I'm very sorry for that. That is one of my goals. Listen, okay, before you let me do a Pokemon Emerald live stream on Discord, you have to make me update my codes at least a little bit. Like, come on, like, I I need to be held accountable for my forgetfulness. But yeah, I had reached a point where I did not like how the yard was turning out, and so we're gonna cut to after I had sorted everything out off camera, and I'm gonna show you what I came up with. I was mostly frustrated with the visual busyness of the yard, so you're gonna see the final product is much more clean and way less cluttered, and we're gonna jump into that right now. Okay, so the first thing I had to do was get rid of this path, because the path and the way that it was separating the yard was just too much. It was already a skinny yard to begin with, and having a huge horizontal path cutting through it was making it so much worse. I also wanted to move around some of the taller objects next to Marshall's house, sort of make everything more even with Genji's house and make it look more like a cohesive neighborhood. Another thing that was making the yard difficult to organize was the entrance from the street. I really didn't like how that looked to have so many paths sort of intersecting, so I ended up making it so that Marshall enters his yard from the side alley instead, which the flow is a lot nicer. Also, I'm placing down this wishing well in between the rocks because I felt like the blue flowers were a little bit too much, and I wanted to separate that space. And I've been meaning to use that wishing well on my island for so long. I haven't used it since like way back, like over a year ago. So that was the perfect spot to put it. It blends in with the rocks perfectly, and it fills the space perfectly. And I just wanted it to seem sort of like the blue hyacinths were growing naturally, and they sort of like crept into Marshall's yard. And now we have all this beautiful green space, so he can just walk through his yard and then walk to the ocean. And I put down this really simple little garden furniture set and a laptop because he is a writer, so he has to have a place to write. And then I also added this little blanket, and I think I put a book on top of it just so that, you know, it's like, oh, he could sit in his yard. I thought it'd be nice hypothetically for him to have a place to sunbathe, though I did not end up including that in the final product just because, once again, trying to declutter the space, trying to make it a little more minimalist for Marshall. And just imagine how gorgeous it's going to be when the seasons change and the grass changes. It's going to be so beautiful. So yeah, that is the basic shape of Marshall's yard, and here I am putting in that taller fence behind, which I'm not 100% sure about because I want to switch out the brick for the white wooden fence when I'm renovating the volleyball court. Wow, words, they escape me. So we'll see how that looks. If it clashes too much, I'll change it, but that's for me from another time. Also, right now I'm placing down these clear tiles so that none of the plants or weeds overgrow themselves from where I put them. So that's a pro tip for you. Have a clear tile ready to go for your builds. Now I'm just readjusting things behind Coco's house, trying to add a car to this neighborhood. I'm not 100% sure about having it just because it takes up so much room in the road, and also because the item limit is really getting to me, not gonna lie. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of doing these sort of like post-build explanation type things. Obviously, at the end of the day, I'm gonna be the one who decides how the builds end up going. So like if I have to do something off camera and then explain it to you later, then that's just how it's gonna be. But let me know if the explanations make sense. That's a better question, because obviously these explanations are meant to show you my process of when I'm building. So if I'm explaining to you like the changes that I made off camera, then I want that to also make sense of like why I chose to do that. But yeah, I changed the song on Marshall's radio on the beach to KK Lovers, or not KK Lovers. I changed it to KK Love Song, which is an OG and a classic, and you should respect it. But yeah, I thought that was an appropriate little Easter egg. I thought that would be a cute idea, either for Marshall and Genji to have picnics on the beach, which would be very adorable, or for Marshall to have picnics on the beach by himself and have wistful fantasies about having a picnic on the beach with Genji. I think that would be very hilarious as well. This beach area also troubled me a little bit just because the colors of the blanket did not they didn't fully match with the color of the Nintendo Switch, but I really wanted to use that colorway of the Switch light just because it's so perfect for Marshall, and I figured if he had a Switch light, that is the color that he would choose. So I thought it only makes sense for Marshall to have this. Oh yeah, and I was also throwing down / adjusting the side of the house. Like I said earlier, I removed some of the tall objects, including the storefront, because it has that like like hay bale inside of it, and it just did not match Marshall's house at all. Like Marshall would not own a hay bale. So I replaced it with the laundry, especially because Marshall is a big hypocrite and would also hang his laundry out to dry and then be shady towards Coco about it. And I also threw a sock on the ground as well, because maybe Marshall's a little bit messy. Maybe Marshall's not perfect, okay? Think about that. Consider that. And we are about to time travel to the next morning. A beautiful, relaxing, calm 6 a.m. I ordered a little scooter for Marshall because I thought if I was going to take his car away, I might as well give him a little bit of transportation, though he does have a bike. But, like, can you imagine Marshall riding a bike? I feel like he just owned the bike for the aesthetic. But I also added the Band-Aid to Genji's yard because Genji is a nasty jock. No, I'm sorry, jocks. Jocks, I apologize. You're not nasty. I'm just making an observation about Genji. But yeah, I just wanted to add in all the little details. And now we have moved on to the final part of this build, which is Marshall's beach picnic, which once again has been on my island for a long time in various forms. I did intentionally give Marshall, I feel like I've said his name 30 different times in this video in 30 different ways. But yeah, I intentionally wanted Marshall to have some beachfront property because I felt like that's what he deserved. And that's what he would want. You know, he's moving to this island to be a writer. You know, he I don't know where he got his money from. That you can all speculate on that in the comments, but he wants to be a writer, and he has this little cottage that he bought on this mysterious faraway island, and he is, you know, he just wants those island vibes, and that's why he has this beachfront property with this gorgeous huge yard that's way bigger than Coco's yard. And yeah, I wanted him to have a beach picnic, like I said, for him to have his imaginings of his romantic date with Genji that Genji is not taking him on. A place where he can come to ruminate about his romance novels, about the whirlwind romance that one would have on a remote island off the coast of fictional Maine in the Animal Crossing universe, and also play his Nintendo Switch, and that's what he deserves. And as someone who, let me say, as someone who has built a lot of beach picnics in her day, this one was a bit of a struggle, mostly because of the size of it and also because of the color scheme of it. Getting the teal color correct was very difficult, and because of the object placement. I wanted it to be a place where Marshall could come sit and enjoy things, and I wanted it to have a lot of objects, like more than I had over there previously, but not like feel too cluttered. And that is something that I've been struggling with the entire time I built with this island. And I also caught a saw shark. So think about that, consider that. Honestly, I am frustratingly close to completing my museum. I have a couple of sea creatures left that are not in season, which is very infuriating. And I also have to finish my art area, which I'm like halfway done with. But when I complete that museum, besties, I'm gonna be so annoying and be like, guess who has an island that not only is decorated completely, but also has a complete museum? Like, I'm about to be so annoying. Like, I think I should live stream me catching my last sea creature, but once again, it's not in season, so I'd have to figure out a way to work around that. But yeah, I ended up going with the ukulele. Also, in between this, with like me running back and forth to my storage to grab new objects to put out here, Marshall and Maddie talked to each other like 3 times, and it was actually really funny. So I might include some of that like in an Instagram video or something. I ended up cutting it for time for this video because it just wasn't, you know, it wasn't giving drama the way that it needed to. But they were cute conversations, and they were being a little, you know, they were being a little catty towards each other. There was Marshall threw a little bit of shade at Maddie's cooking, even though he did say it was good, but he also called it basic. So, you know, take of that what you will. But yeah, we are almost at the end of the build. I kept just like adding little finishing touches and like changing things and like changing the orientation of things, and it just kept going and going. This happens every time I build something. I'm just like, I can't stop. Like, I have to adjust things more and more. This spot in particular, the top left-hand corner of the picnic, I was struggling with. You're gonna see I go through different socks, I go through different bags. I think I ended up adding the brown basket bag, which honestly, what a slay that object is. But yeah, I think I ended up going with that in the end. But I tried a million different socks, a million different purses. Like, how would Marshall carry his little lunch out to the beach? Who knows? The answer is apparently a brown picnic basket looking bag type thing. And I think I'm about to place it down. Also, before I end this, just apologies for the inconsistent mic quality. I think my filter is like struggling right now to deal with like the on again, off again noise outside. But I appreciate you all for making it to the end, because here we are at the end of the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this build and how it turned out. I really like how this whole neighborhood turned out. I think it's really fun, and I love doing like proper suburban town core neighborhoods. But yeah, if you liked this video, make sure to leave a like. It really helps me out. Or you can leave a comment telling me what you thought, or answering one of my many very intrusive questions. If you really like this video, you can subscribe and hit the little bell to be notified every time that I post. I try, emphasis on try, to post Animal Crossing videos here twice a week on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and I also live stream here at least once a week. Lately, we've been doing Saturday City Folk streams, which you can check out on Saturdays or at my live streams playlist, which is on my channel. And I'm also going live today. If you're watching this the day that it goes up, I'll be going live a little bit after the stream goes up, so that'll be linked in the description. Make sure to swing by and say hello. That is going to be it from me, besties, but if I don't see you on the live stream today, then I hope to see you all on Wednesday. Bye!